All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to episode 2 of Rock Radio. My name is Onkama. I'm your host, coming from the basement of the La Penta unit at Iona College. And ever since last week's show ended on Monday, I've been really looking forward to getting back in the studio since I took the first steps out. I know last week I talked about Oasis. That was a bit of a niche topic. Maybe it doesn't interest everybody quite as much as it might interest me personally. And, first time back, first time talking on the air in a long time. It's a bit about getting the rust off, getting used to talking in a new environment, because as I mentioned, I hadn't spoken on air here last semester, and the last time I did that was at University of Rhode Island. But now I'm back for week 2, and I got another topic that I'm really excited about today. I think you guys are going to like it too. And before I get into it, though, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't do a little promotion here. A good friend of mine, Matthew Connolly, frontman of a band called Wilmah, Wilmah. They just released a new song on Sunday night called "It Will Always Be You." Very good stuff. You should really go check him out. I think you like it. Nice indie pop kind of 1975-ish Vampire Weekend-ish sound, for lack of a better comparison, because they really are all their own. But you should definitely go check it out. And, you can find their other stuff. You can kind of get into them like that. They could become your new favorite band. And if they do, Wilma's playing a show at Gold Sounds Bar in Brooklyn on October 29th. So if they become your favorite band by listening to them, you have as soon as possible opportunity to go check them out. So you should definitely do that. And with that, we can jump into today's topic for episode 2 of Rock Radio, which is concerts. Everybody likes concerts. If you like music, everybody hopefully has been to them, had the wonderful experience to have seen a band or their favorite band live. I personally have been extremely fortunate to have caught many great concerts and many of my favorite bands live. And over that time, I've kind of accumulated a lot of experiences and a lot of cool stories about seeing them live that I think would make for a good episode of the show. So I'm just going to go through in no particular order, because I can't necessarily remember when exactly and in what order I saw all these concerts, because it's been a while now. But I just got a list here of my favorite moments that I think you guys might enjoy to hear, and I'm going to get into it. So I think I kind of have to start with my first concert. And my first concert actually wasn't supposed to be my first concert, funny as that might sound. In the summer of 2015, I had tickets lined up to go with my dad to go see Rush at the Prudential Center, I think, in New Jersey. And it was on the date of my 15th birthday, that show would be. And, I was super psyched about it. Actually, Rush had been my dad's first concert when he was, I think, 12 years old. So he was really excited to have that line up. His first concert being Rush, his son's, my first concert being Rush as well. Kind of circular, mystical type thing that Rush would be about. Neil Peart probably like to write a song about that if he knew. But as it would happen, Rush actually didn't turn out to be my first concert, because I went to one on a whim, and almost by accident, if you will, a bit before that. So my sister's favorite band is Fall Out Boy, and my dad was taking her about probably a month or two earlier to see them at the PNC Performing Arts Center in New Jersey. And I don't remember why he suggested this, if only just because he thought I might be into it. I do like Fall Out Boy myself. I was getting into them at the time through my sister. So my dad posited that I join them, and he'd probably easily scalp a ticket. And for whatever God knows what reason, being stubborn, wishy-washy 15-year-old self, I was very on the fence about going. He presented the idea to me. I was like, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I just kind of got overly anxious about it for no reason, decided not to. And they left, and of course, as it would happen, as they leave, I'm feeling all depressed that I didn't go, should have taken the offer, whatever. And yes, my family, knowing me, texted me before they fully got out of town to see if I had changed my mind. And obviously I had. Apparently my dad knows me better than anyone. And so they came back, got me. We drove all the way to New Jersey, stayed in a hotel, and they managed to scalp a ticket for me. And it was a really great experience. It was, funnily enough, Wiz Khalifa. They split that tour with him, so like I said, he's the first artist I ever saw. But I kind of shoved that to the side. I don't really think that counts for my interests. And my sister and our friend that went with us, they pushed their way up to the front. I didn't really want to do that. Didn't feel like being cramped in like there. So I found this little open grassy area to myself. We were in, if you've ever been to PNC Arts Center, they have a little grassy hill for people just to like walk in and sit on. There's this one little area that nobody was really crowding, and you could only see Fall Out Boy like a little bit, like that much from the area, but I didn't really care because I could hear him fine. I was just jumping around, dancing to myself, probably looking like an idiot, but who cares? That's what concerts are all about. And I left and was just feeling so exhilarated, and it was my first concert experience probably couldn't have been better, just in terms of how much I enjoyed it and how much of an impact seeing live music for the first time left on me. I'm sure my dad will always be a little bit sad that Rush wasn't my favorite concert, or excuse me, my first concert, and that didn't line up as we had hoped it would for both of us. But I did go see him a month later, and gotta say, I think Fall Out Boy was kind of better. Um, it was a bit more out of the way to get to New Jersey, a seedy part of New Jersey. I was probably there's a decent amount of teenagers with their parents there. But it was predominantly older adult Rush fans who are as crazy now as they were back in the 70s and 80s. If you've watched any of these Rush documentaries, you would know that. Which actually, but the special thing about this show is that it was Rush's final tour, the R40 tour, because Neil Peart, their drummer, just kind of couldn't keep up with it anymore, so they hung up their instruments and called it quits after that one. But it was a really, in hindsight, I don't think I appreciated that quite as much in the moment, but in hindsight, that's a pretty special experience to have seen them on their farewell tour. Like I said, concert could have probably been better. I ended up standing in a puddle of beer and messed up my pretty old sneakers, and 15-year-old me was just kind of depressed about that for the rest of the show. And of course, I couldn't let it go and just enjoy the music. But all in all, at their almost elderly stage of being a band, Rush still put on a great show. Neil Peart, I think, is the best drummer ever. Alex Lifeson, an extremely underrated guitarist. Geddy Lee, simultaneous bass and keyboard playing, just all around musical greatness like they're known for. And I actually circled back around, not immediately after this. As I said, I don't quite remember the total order of these shows or how old I was when I saw them all. I have another quick Fall Out Boy story, and I think it's the first time was a very special experience, but it definitely wasn't the best time I've seen them, because I did see them 2 more times after that. Once at Madison Square Garden, which is of course a great venue, but probably the most interesting and just unique, fun show I saw them at was at the Beacon Theater in New York. It's a really great small venue if you've ever been. Really intimate, really pretty decor in the theater. And what it was a holiday show for a radio station, and they had a whole bunch of other acts on. I didn't really know who else was going to be there. I was just under the impression that it would be another Fall Out Boy concert, which I was all gung-ho for after having seen them for the first time and being blown out of the water. And by whatever weird happenstances with the Beacon's tickets and whatever avenue we went through to get the tickets, we ended up, after striking out, refreshing the page for tickets 10, 20 times, finding a pair of 3 down in the front left corner of the Beacon, about 3 rows back from the stage, for reasonably priced, considering how close that was to the stage. And we get there and we're blown away because we're just dressed. It was around holiday time in jeans and sweatshirts and very casual clothing, surrounded by a bunch of suit and tie, really bigwig corporate people who are probably only there to just because they're whatever multi-million-dollar company sent them and gave them the tickets to. I highly doubt a lot of those people were diehard Fall Out Boy fans, but you never know. But before Fall Out Boy went on, we were sat through a bunch of the other acts for this holiday show, expecting them to be, just like kind of in the background, just building up to Fall Out Boy's performance. But they actually ended up being great. We saw a lot of cool people. George Ezra, who I really didn't even know then. I guess this might have been back in 2016 even. So I don't know if George Ezra was big in 2016, but if he wasn't, because I saw him before he blew up. Saw Sarah Bareilles, which was a really cool, actually, a man standing next to us wearing a Brazil soccer jersey I kid you not, actually came all the way from Brazil to see Sarah Bareilles because he just worshipped her and her music, going all out to Love Song and all her other classics. And as entertaining as that was, she put on a really good show. She sang some songs from Waitress, I think, because I'm pretty sure she did the soundtrack to that musical. We saw Elle King. She was very fun. She has those, I think X's and O's is her big song. I don't know how much she's done since then, but at the time she was a very I don't really care what you think about me kind of rowdy personality on stage. Lots of vulgarity and middle fingers to be thrown, not at the crowd, but like in a here I am, this is me kind of thing. And I kind of changed my perception of Elle King, if I had one at all up to that point, and I thought it was really cool. And once again, Fall Out Boy, they put on a great show. If you've never seen them live, if you like them, or even if you don't, very tight live musically, good show, good songs. They played some Christmas songs, which was really fun. And then, if I'm not mistaken by my memory, I think as a family we flew to Disney World the next day, so that was a pretty good send off to that. And just one last quick Beacon related story before I end the segment, and then take a break before jumping on to the next one. The first time I saw the Smashing Pumpkins was also at the Beacon Theater, and I'm sure I made it abundantly clear in my first show last week that I'm a 90s rock freak, considering I dedicated an entire show to Oasis. But this is I got to see Smashing Pumpkins with my dad and some family friends who also live in town with us, and it was a really unique experience. The concert was billed as like an acoustic show, so I was really happy going in, but secretly a little bit disappointed because if you know Smashing Pumpkins, they are decidedly not an acoustic band. Just listen to Gish or Siamese Dream, those first two albums, and you get the idea of what they were about back in the 90s. But and it wasn't even just Billy Corgan standing on stage with an acoustic guitar and nothing. It wasn't entirely acoustic. They played some songs that aren't. They basically just played all their songs that aren't extremely heavy distorted electric guitar. They played 1975, which was great. Other stuff like that. James Iha wasn't there, which was kind of unfortunate. He was the founding guitarist of the band alongside Corgan, and founding bassist Darcy Retzky wasn't there because she, among a myriad of her own struggles and problems, just had a falling out beyond repair with the band. But the thing I remember most from that show was, if you've never seen Smashing Pumpkins, you probably wouldn't know that Billy Corgan's not really much for stage presence or talking to the audience. He's kind of a quirky dude. He performed Smashing Pumpkins' song "Disarm" with himself only on the stage, took like a organ-ish sounding keyboard, placed it facing away from the crowd on like the leftmost side of the stage, and just performed that. It was a very weird, screeching, squealy sound to an otherwise really pretty song with acoustic guitar and classical instruments, and it was just probably not their best take on it. But yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break now, and this first segment. When I come back, we'll use that Smashing Pumpkin story as a conduit to a lot more 90s stories, because boy, have I got a lot. I've had the good fortune of seeing some of my 90s heroes and idols perform in concert, and some stories are worthwhile from those concerts. I'll be back in a few minutes.